Photography is really expensive. Cameras are expensive, lenses are expensive, the bags are even expensive that you carry these things around. Not to mention the time that it takes to travel to places, to shoot things that inspire you, and then the time that it takes to create something beautiful out of those images when you come back and have to edit them and post them and do all this stuff. There's a story that we tell ourselves in the back of our head that somehow, some way, this is going to translate into income. I'm putting an end to that and closing the door on this idea of photography as a profession. And in this video, I'm going to tell you 5 things that I took into consideration when making that decision and why I feel like my life has improved as a result of declaring myself officially an amateur photographer. Hey guys, my name is Steve Richert. I'm an adventure photographer and filmmaker. This channel is all about telling your story and the stories that matter to you with a camera. It's been a while since I've uploaded any videos to YouTube, and I've been taking some time away from the channel to assess my life. And one of the things that I have been struggling with for the last several months, if you've followed this channel at all, you know that I have gone through various adventure documentary binges, living on the road, trying to actually live in a trailer and tell my story while traveling constantly with my family. And then coming back, kind of failing out of that and trying to turn that adventure, travel photography, and filmmaking into a more sustainable professional career while starting over. The idea of trying to pursue photography and filmmaking, digital storytelling, as a profession has taken more from me than it has given me in the long run, and it's actually interfering with my ability to make films, make photographs, and do the things that inspire me to make films and photographs. And there's a lot of stuff that I've seen on YouTube where people talk about how to make it professionally, and I feel like there's a lot of us in this world of digital storytelling that have some aspirations of making a living. There's always that kind of thought in the back of our mind that says, yeah, this could be something that earns me money. And my goal isn't to tell you that you shouldn't think about photography or filmmaking as a profession, but it's just to share a few things that I took into consideration, and when I weighed these factors, I realized the consideration of this as a career and as a profession was something that was actually doing me more harm than it was doing good. The number one thing that I had to ask myself was, is it still fun what I'm doing, or has it just become laborious and frustrating? Now, I know that there is a tendency to equate fun with easy. And for me, I've been a climber for almost 10 years. I've lived with type 1 diabetes for almost 20 years. I've been an athlete much of my life, and I am well acquainted with the concepts of difficulty, challenge, and hard work. And there's a big difference between something being difficult but being rewarding versus something just being frustrating and having a negative impact on your life. And when I started looking at what was going on with me trying to make a career out of this, and I looked at what it was doing in my personal relationship, in my marriage specifically, and like with my family life in general, and the burden and the hardship that it was putting on everyone else, and by extension, on me, there is a certain extent to which you put in 5-6 years of trying to do something, you put in the time and effort, you put in the hard work, and if you are not having fun and it's not benefiting you and there is a negative impact, in other words, if the work is not fun, but the result of the work is at least fun, then you can justify that and say the net impact is at least a positive one. But when the work stops being fun, and the net result of that work is not enough income that you can have fun in your free time or even have free time to have fun, it kind of made sense to me to say, you know what, this is one factor that should indicate it's time to pull the pin. The second factor I took into consideration was, am I doing this for myself? Am I comparing myself to someone else? It's really easy to watch stuff on YouTube, watch other people that have had a different trajectory. And the reality is that there are many people who are able to make it as a professional who are not strictly there based on their talent or based on doing good work. How many people have you seen on Instagram or on Twitter or their websites or on Flickr who make incredibly awesome work and they are doing something else as a job because either they're not good at marketing or because the market that they are in is really saturated. The idea that somehow because somebody that we look up to has been able to make it with a level of talent that we see as being achievable, that doesn't mean at all that we can make it in that way or that we should continue pushing through significant negative hurdles in our life beyond a certain point to try to achieve something based on what someone else has done. At the end of the day, we got to look at our own situation, at our own selves, make our own decisions. And when I started looking at that, the pretty clear answer to me was, it probably isn't worth it to continue doing this for me at this point in my life. Number 3 is, did I put in the time and the effort to make this happen? And I can say that I've been doing this pretty solidly since 2011, but this isn't something that, I tried to get overnight success in. This is something that I've put about 6 years of my life, and I don't even want to estimate how much money between gear and time that I've invested into this, mostly full time, at least 5 of those 6 years. Full-time effort into this, and there is a certain extent where you've got your ear to the ground, you're listening to best practices, you're trying to do all these things, and you're taking all the advice and the input from people who have gotten to where you want to be, and you're modeling these practices as best you can, and the net result is still not there, or at least not there in a way that makes a sustainable living for you. Then it's fair to say, okay, this isn't just about like, oh, I'm lazy or I'm a quitter, because those are things that we hear a lot of times from motivational figures that, don't be lazy, you got to get up early, work hard, do all these things, don't quit. And that's fair. But there's also a certain point to say, okay, when does it go from doing things the right way and putting in effort to, okay, I've put in the effort, I've done things the right way, and I've done it for an extended period of time, the result isn't there. When do I say, okay, it's time to make a decision to go in a different direction? And for me, I put in the time, I put in the effort. I know that deep down how much I've wanted it and how much effort I've put into it. And I think the experiment of trying to be a professional digital storyteller as my career, I think that experiment has run its course. The 4th thing that I asked myself was, am I making a difference in the work that I'm doing? When I got into digital storytelling, I was telling stories that I really believed in and that made a big difference in my life and that were impacting other people. And when I looked at what I've been doing over the last couple of years especially, I've seen a decline in my ability to pursue stories that I really see making a difference, because at the end of the day, I'm afraid that I'm not going to be able to make a living doing those things. And I've gone back and forth between trying to do work that is commercially viable and trying to do work that is really important or impactful and that I believe in personally. And to be frank, I haven't had a lot of success, and I've just seen the personal value in the stories getting clouded by the desire to make some sort of commercial impact so that I can support my family. When you have a family, you have a wife, you have a kid, and you want to be able to afford to pay rent on your own apartment, you want to be able to afford to go out and spend time with your family, be outside, not be constantly sitting at a desk, you need to have some idea of a commercial pathway of like how you're going to make a living on this. And before my daughter was born, it was really easy for me to say to my wife, hey, we're down for some adventure. Let's go live out of a car. Let's be broke. And let's make movies and photographs to tell stories that we really believe in. And that was really great because when things are thin, hey, you just eat top ramen and you crash on your friend's couch for a couple of weeks until you're able to get money coming in. And then you go back out there and you do things all over again. When you have a kid and you're looking for a little bit more stability, that option is no longer there. And after putting in the time, either you have found that way to tell stories that you believe in and connect that to some sort of commercial venture, or you haven't. And I haven't. And the last thing that I took into consideration was, is there a better way that I could be shooting more things that I really love and that I care about? And when I stepped back from this whole situation and I thought about it and I said, if I had a job where I was able to make enough money, but I also was able to have enough free time where I could live within my means and take that time and put that into creative efforts like photography, like travel, like climbing, or some amalgamation of those things, which I used to do with all of my free time, I would be able to shoot stuff that I really believed in and stuff that really meant something to me, which would probably increase my quality of work, if not my enjoyment of that experience. And I realized that was kind of the last straw, and I said, you know what? I'm going to make a different choice. I'm going to go a different direction. And from the minute that I made that decision and said, okay, I'm done thinking about photography and video as a career, and I'm going to go back to school. And my plan is to become a nurse. And I'll probably do more videos in the future updating and talking about that particular career choice and why I want to do that. Although I think the bottom line of portable, sustainable income is a pretty obvious factor there, and the amount of free time that I can have to pursue photography as an amateur photographer. And there may be another video tied up in this, but the concept of amateur, if you look at the etymology of that word, it has to do with love. And love is a great reason to do something rather than financial gain. Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a comment and let me know what your experience has been. If you've been sort of on the fence pursuing a professional career within digital storytelling, if you've ever been through this process before, and just share your opinion, share feedback, because that means a lot to me. I get a great deal from the interactions and the comments that come with these videos. I would love to hear from you. Make sure to subscribe to the Living Vertical YouTube channel, because I got a lot more coming up as I continue to make more videos about telling your story with a camera. I'm Steve Richert. Thanks for taking the time, and we'll see you on the next video.